Coffee is the most consumed beverage worldwide. We all love coffee because it keeps us going. But I think we should find a more sustainable way to grow coffee. Our names are Andrew and Dennis, and today we'll talk about the system of coffee. Our resource is coffee, and people consume coffee. People buy coffee from the stores and then they drink it. Tens of millions of coffee producers depend on coffee for their income. Europe drinks 45% of the world's coffee. The United States drinks 20% of the world's coffee. That makes them the most coffee consumer.
There are many stages to bring coffee to you. After coffee is grown in farms, first it is brought to an exporter. Second, it is brought to an importer or brought to a trader that trades the coffee for money. Third, the coffee is brought to a roaster to roast the beans. Fourth, it is brought to you or the restaurant such as Starbucks. And then we consume it. Coffee needs a lot of water and high temperatures for it to grow. That is why it is only grown in tropical regions. Brazil grows nearly 1/3 of the world's coffee. That's about 36%. Second is Vietnam with 13%. Third is Colombia with 10%, and the rest comes from other countries.
Coffee can impact the food chain and the ecosystem because you have to cut down mountains and trees in order to have space to make a farm, and the animals living in it would die. So if the animals there died, then the food chain becomes very unstable. The farmers would eventually spread fungicides, pesticides, fertilizers, and other chemicals that can harm the ecosystem. There are two types of growing coffee: sun-grown coffee and shade-grown coffee. Sun-grown coffee requires to wipe out rainforests, which causes immediate loss of biodiversity, both in the many types of trees and plants that were eliminated, as well as the animals that depend on them. Shade-grown coffee is slower, but the coffee is much more rich, and it saves up more of the environment, which causes animals and the ecosystem happy.
There are more fair and sustainable ways to get coffee. One alternative is organic farming, is using natural methods and materials that will lower the impact on the environment. Another way is fair trade. It favors small-scale farmers to have fair prices to compete in the global market. Lastly, shade-grown coffee, where coffee plant is seen as a habitat and reduces the need for fertilizer.
Shade-grown coffee has fair trade certification, which makes sure that it offers fair prices to the farmers and that they will protect and conserve the environment. Organic farming helps maintaining the soil healthy and reduces the use of toxic pesticides and build a diverse agriculture. If all the farmers use this method, it can help the food chain and the ecosystem because less pesticides and toxics would hurt the organisms, and if the organisms are alive, then the food chain will circulate normally and it would give more spaces for the animal to live and spend their lives.
Individuals should choose to buy coffee that preserve habitat and put an importance on the health of the people who grow coffee, and it is good for nature.
That means you should buy traditional shade-grown coffee, which takes much longer but preserves a canopy of mature native trees that provide habitat for wildlife, including dozens of species of migratory songbirds. Shade the soil, reducing water consumption, and provide a natural mulch that prevents erosion and reduces the need for herbicides and other chemicals. In organic farming, by maintaining the soil healthy and reducing the use of toxic pesticides, this will result to healthier plants. If you have healthier plants, there will be less impacts on the consumers. Fair trade protects the families and communities of coffee producers by having a negotiated pre-harvest prices. As a result, the income of the small producers get better as well as their quality of life and health.
The coffee producers recognize the positive impacts of fair trade. Worldwide from 2005 to 2007, there was an increase of fair trade products from 0.34% to 0.51%.
Our recommendations is to use sustainable farming. Another is to ensure coffee producers of fair trade. Lastly is to prioritize shade-grown coffee over sun-grown coffee. This recommendation benefits the environment and the well-being of the coffee producers.
More than 25 million people work in coffee industries, and 1,400 million cups of coffee are drunk every day. If we don't consider sustainable development in producing our coffee, then it will make a huge impact on the environment, and the 25 million people will lose their homes and affect their families.
Sustainable development is important because it creates a balance between the resources and people. In sustainable farming, they don't use non-renewable resources like pesticides. Therefore, it minimizes pollution and provides care for the environment and less risks for the health of its employees. Coffee is a great beverage, but I think we should find another alternative to produce it. So that is all we can say. And remember, this is
Dennis!
and Andrew signing off.
Bye bye! Bye!
Coffee is the most consumed beverage. What? Coffee. There are many